Okay, so the previous video I put out, in my haste to get the information out, I did not put out all of the information and I did not give a full explanation, and I want to do that here. So we're going to start there. And we'll start with the head of the month being on the full moon, November 5th. This is heavenly calendar October. And then we have the first day, the second day, and the third day, which are Tishri days 14, 15, 16, and 17. Now there was a puzzle piece that I don't think people even saw. Holly Two Moons had a dream that Jesus has a Rubik's Cube and was trying to solve a math problem. He said, time is off by 4, 5, 6. So time is off by 4, 5, 6. That would be heavenly days 4, 5, and 6, which brings us to November 11th. And this was highlighted and alerted as an important day. And it is an important day in more than one way. And there was a call to fast that went out, to fast and pray on that day. And God heard our prayers. So if time is off by 4, 5, 6, who is the faithful witness and keeper of time? That's the moon. Now we're going to move the moon here because he's alerting us to another time deception. So the full moon that was here is going to move down here. Psalm 89:37. It shall be established forever as the moon and as a faithful witness in heaven. Selah. So not only do we move the moon, we move the Tishri days. So this then becomes 14, 15, 16, and 17. But that wasn't the only piece of the puzzle. So time is off by 4, 5, 6. We add the moon and we add the Tishri days. But in the same dream, Holly said she was trying to count the days until her spiritual birthday. The answer was in 3 days, and her birthday is Tuesday. So in order to explain this, I'm going to have to go backwards a little bit. On a previous video, I explained that this was an Exodus journey, and the Exodus through the Red Sea was equivalent to labor and birth pains. So on the left, there's an aerial view of the people coming out of Egypt and passing through the parted Red Sea. And on the right is a woman's uterus. And if you overlay those, they're exactly the same. So our journey. So each date that we came to was manna and alerting us to different things like feasts and festivals. But each one of these stops was also a contraction. Now, a contraction pushes the baby down through the birth canal. And then on October 31st, the baby crowned, or was crowning, and was born. Okay, so time is off by 4, 5, 6, which moves the moon from November 5th to November 11th. And then we put in the Tishri days. But then we have to look at the rest of Holly Two Moon's dream. In that same dream, Holly said she was trying to count days until her spiritual birthday, and the answer was in 3 days, and her birthday was Tuesday. So her spiritual birthday, which was on October 31st, now moves to this day. And then we're going to put in the Tishri days that line up. So it's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Leviticus 12, 1 through 3. The Lord said to Moses, "Say to the Israelites, a woman who becomes pregnant and gives birth to a son will be ceremonially unclean for 7 days, just as she is unclean during her monthly period. On the 8th day, the boy is to be circumcised." So let's count the days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Baby is clean. 8th day, circumcision. So I could leave you with that last calendar, and that would be manna for you for a week. But God has shown me the entire calendar, and He wants me to show it to you. So here we go. So we established that the supermoon, the harvest moon, is at the head of the heavenly month of October, which falls on November 5th. And then we established that time is off by 4, 5, 6. So we take this moon and we move it because we're alerted to a time discrepancy. But what if I told you there was more? Let's actually go back and look at Holly's dream in detail. She had a dream that Jesus had a Rubik's Cube and was trying to solve a simple math problem. And he said, time is off by 4, 5, 6. There is a pattern here. And I'm going to use Joshua's dream as an example. So do you remember when Joshua first came out with his dream? And his dream was on October 13th. And he said that Jesus told him 14, 15 days will pass, and on the 16th and 17th I will take my people. Well, being a generation of instant gratification, we look for the closest thing. So we looked, okay, he had his dream on the 13th, so we'll count the day. The next day is 14, 15, and hey, yeah, 16, 17. That's the closest and the easiest thing. That's what it's got to be. But it wasn't. And we had to go back and reevaluate. So right now we're going to reevaluate this. So the simple math problem, and that's the key words here, the math problem. 4 plus 5 plus 6 equals 15. So this is alerting us to it's not just off by these days. It's actually off by 15 days. So we're going to go back up to the head of the month because this is where we drag this moon from. We're going to take it here, and then we're going to count 15 days. Now this is easy because the heavenly days make it easy for us. They're already numbered. So it's the 15th day, which is actually the new moon. And I think this is important to note that I think during this whole process, he's been showing us bringing things from the darkness into the light, exposing things, deceptions, time, and laws. So Mark 4:22, for there is nothing hidden which will not be revealed, nor has anything been kept secret, but that it should come to light. Job 12:22, he discovereth deep things out of darkness, and bringeth out to light the shadow of death. Isaiah 5:20, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Okay, so we established that there is a time difference of actually 15 days. So we put the full moon on the 15th and our supermoon at the head of the month to denote the time and the marking of the beginning of the heavenly calendar. Now we're going to take away that moon and we're going to replace it with the birth of the child, because every time you replace the moon, you have to replace the corresponding pieces. So we put the birth of the child in, and then we add the Tishri days. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 days will pass, and on the 16th and 17th, I will take my people. So I think it's important to note, and God told me this before, that everything must align. It has to be his messenger on his heavenly calendar, and it has to line up. So we look at this, and 16, 17 runs like this. So it is the 23rd and the 24th. So your 1617 is 2324. Okay, so there's another reason to show us the moons and the time discrepancies. So we've established the supermoon at the head of the month, and we marked the first time change on November 11th, which is Heavenly Day 6, and then the 15-day time change. But what this was alerting us to is Leviticus 23:33 through 36. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, The 15th day of this 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days to the Lord. On the first day there shall be a holy convocation. You shall do no customary work on it. For 7 days you shall offer an offering made by fire to the Lord. On the 8th day you shall have a holy convocation, and you shall offer an offering made by fire to the Lord. It is a sacred assembly, and you shall do no customary work on it. So that alerts us to Feast of Tabernacles, which falls on the 15th day on this heavenly calendar. Now we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is known as Shemini Atzeret. This is the 8th day of assembly. Psalm 81:3. Blow the trumpet at the time of the new moon, at the full moon, on our solemn feast day. So an important thing that he was showing us in all of these pieces, he's showing us that November is September. November is the Latin word novum, which means 9. November was originally the 9th month of the Roman calendar, which began in March. Number 9. Now, how do we write the month September numerically? Well, we write it as 9. So November is September. Now I'm going to address the moons. But first, I'm going to tell you about a dream that Angela had, and you'll understand why I mentioned this. So Angela had a dream that the calendar months, there was a hand flipping the calendar months. And the hand flipped through the calendar, came to September, flipped it over, October, flipped it over. But when it got to November, the hand ripped the calendar page off, crumpled it up, and threw it on the floor. Now, I know everybody thought that that was in some way on a man's calendar, November. No. As you can see, we're actually currently in heavenly calendar, October. He was telling you and alerting you to the fact that heavenly month, November, he would come and take you before that you even saw that calendar, before we even switched to the month. Now I want to tell you about the moons. Why did you see these moons? And I'll probably reference Holly 2 Moon's dream most because hers is the one that I'm familiar with. So she saw a supermoon and she saw 2 small moons. And she said that these moons looked, the small ones kind of look fake. And she's right. They're actually not real. The supermoon was to show you that it's at the head of the month. That is to denote the month that he will take you, September or November. So then the 2 small moons were him. It was actually, he's showing you that 2 months will pass before he comes to take you, but it has like a multifaceted meaning, multi-layered. So this also denoted that there were 2 time discrepancies that he showed us. So Holly 2 Moons, you said you saw the supermoon, then you saw the 2 small moons, and whenever the supermoon started to roll away, the 2 small ones rolled away with it. Angela's calendar, he was flipping the calendar. So all these moons are on the same month. So whenever he flips the calendar, they all go away at the same time. Let's talk about the feasts and festivals in the Bible. So the 7 feasts of the Bible are Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Feast of First Fruits, the Feast of Weeks, which is Pentecost, the Feast of Trumpets, the Day of Atonement, and the Feast of Tabernacles. These feasts are described in Leviticus 23 and were established by God for the Israelites to observe annually. Passover. This celebrates the liberation of the Israelites from slavery in Egypt. The Feast of Unleavened Bread, a 7-day feast following Passover, commemorating the hasty departure from Egypt, where there was no time for the bread to rise. Feast of First Fruits, honors the beginning of the harvest season. The Feast of Weeks, or Pentecost, occurs 50 days after the Feast of First Fruits and marks the end of the spring harvest. The Feast of Trumpets, a day of blowing trumpets that also serves as the Jewish New Year. The Day of Atonement, a solemn day of fasting and atonement for the sins of the nation. Feast of Tabernacles, booths, commemorates the Israelites dwelling in temporary shelters in the wilderness, and it's also a celebration of the fall harvest. In order for Christ to come back, these need to be fulfilled. Now, the first 4 have already been fulfilled. And if you want an in-depth study on that, the person that I would recommend is YouTube channel Dr. Barry Awe, A-W-E. He is amazing and he can explain these and he's fun. So the only 3 left that need to be fulfilled are the Feast of Trumpets, the Day of Atonement, and Feast of Tabernacles. And you say, well, what does that mean to me? How does that fit in? Okay, let's take a look at this calendar. Now, we've already established that the Gregorian month of November is the heavenly month of September. So what he's alerting to you with this calendar is that what you're actually looking at is September. Sept is 7. Okay, keep that in mind. Leviticus 23, 23 through 25. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, and a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. So what he's showing you is that at the beginning of the month is the Feast of Trumpets in the 7th month. Leviticus 23, 27 through 28. Also on the 10th day of the 7th month there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls, and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Lord your God. So the 10th day, that's the Day of Atonement. That's what this moon is alerting to you. So the Day of Atonement actually sits between, it's actually both of these days. You celebrate Day of Atonement in 2 days. That's what he was alerting you to the whole entire time. Leviticus 23, 33 through 36. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, The 15th day of this 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days unto the Lord. On the 1st day shall be a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. 7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. On the 8th day shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein. So on the 15th day of the 7th month, September, is Feast of Tabernacles. And we're going to count 8 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. On the 8th day is Shemini Atzeret. This is the 8th day of assembly. So you're going to say to me, well, they've been celebrating these feasts and festivals forever. Yeah, they have. But were they fulfilling them as per God's instructions in Leviticus? Did you see Feast of Trumpets celebrated on the first day of the 7th month? No. Do you remember we had to look for it? A crescent moon. That's actually opposite. He's bringing what is in the dark into the light so that you can see, so that it is exposed and naked for the whole entire world to see. And because these feasts and festivals were not being properly fulfilled, this is the way he fulfilled them. And this is the way he showed you what he was doing. I'm going to leave you with this final calendar because it represents our journey, our refinement, and our rebirth. And what a journey it's been to be refined, to learn things, to seek God, to have a personal relationship with him. And the journey has also been a race. To get to the finish line, we're always looking for the finish line. 2 Timothy 4, 6 through 8. For I am now ready to be offered, and the time of my departure is at hand. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto all them also that love his appearing. We're going to receive a crown at the end of our journey. And our Father gives the most wonderful gifts. James 1:17. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, and comes down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shadow of turning. A gift given is a gift received. When he gives you a gift, he knows that he's going to receive it back. You don't even have to do anything. That's the glory of it. All praise, glory, and honor to Lord God Almighty in heaven, and our Lord and Savior, and our Redeemer, and our friend, Jesus Christ. Don't waste this gift, people. He's given you time. Seek him. Become his friend. Get to know him. That's all he wants. He gave you a gift freely. Salvation was given to you. All he wants is you to seek him, to choose him